going on to fantasy football, because that's starting now this week, everybody. Obviously, we've got our league up and running. I will put the fantasy football information under all the videos. Just elaborate further for us, Becky, on the fantasy football side.
Yeah, so just quickly, it's, I believe, 6 days now till the season kicks off. And obviously, we've got our Fantasy Premier League set up, ready, and lots of people have already joined. I've got word from a few other boys that are still to join. I think we've got 10 or 11 so far, and there's 4 or 5 more to come in. So we should have a much more competitive league this year. Just to quickly mention, I'm sure Reece will agree with this, the first week on FPL is one of the most unpredictable, because everybody's running like a madman with these budgets, trying to pick a team that you think people are going to play. Are you putting new signings in? Are you not? And until the first balls are kicked, and you don't really know what managers' opinions are and who's going to play, etc. Sometimes you can pick a team in the first week, can't you, Reece? And you can look at it after and go, I don't know if it was really good decisions were made here at all. I might need to change a lot of this just off the first week. So it's always interesting to see where the situation is after week 1. As you guys know, you can only make 1 transfer per week, unless you miss it out for the second week, and then you get 2, and if you don't take the 2, it drops to 1. One thing I just wanted to mention, which I'm seeing a lot of people's teams online varying quite a lot, and it's the blank week for City and United. So United and City aren't playing, which means that a lot of big name picks that would be in most people's teams, like a Bruno Fernandes or a Kevin De Bruyne, Aguero, just any real United or City player, there's that question mark now, isn't there, Reece, that do I really need to pick them first week? Because there's some of those you want them in your team, right? And you will have them in your team throughout the season, but we don't know when this fixture is going to be rescheduled to yet. So if you have United and City players in your team this week, they're just going to draw a blank, and it's almost a waste to have them in there scoring nothing, unless of course you have players on your bench that are going to come in for them. But then that's a whole nother debate, and trying to make your bench strong enough to have players to come in instead of those. So what I would recommend, and Reece can give his 10 pence in a minute, is leave in most of those United City players out this week, if not all of them, which is what I have done. And you can slowly introduce them via your free weekly transfers after that, should you want to. If you want to stick 1 in there, maybe like a Bruno or a De Bruyne or something, and maybe have them on the bench, perfectly fine. You're just missing out on the 1 no points there. But it's tricky, and I've seen a lot of people gambling with putting United and City players in, and I'm thinking there's 3 or 4 players there that are going to get you 0. That is nothing. That is less than 1. Okay, this week. So I don't know what your take on that is, Reece, and that part of it.
Yeah. So with regards to the fantasy league and strategy for the first week, in general, and this year specifically, I think, like you said, Man City United aren't playing for the first week, and Man City's fixtures for the first 2 or 3 games, they're not great, they're not ideal, so there's no need to necessarily rush to get Man City players in. Definitely leave some budget for your key players like De Bruyne. What I would say is, as a blanket tip for the start of any fantasy league season, try and treat it like you would real life. Pick the players have got energy in the legs. Pick those that are going to be fit for the start of the season, and are going to be in the manager's plans, and sprinkle a few luxuries in there. Once you've got that, and you've got the core nucleus of players that are getting you points for appearance stats first, when they're scoring you 1 or 2 points, they could get a couple of goals, generate points in that way until you can figure out different managers' preferred 11s. And once you've got that information, you can start to build on it. But just remember, you could go and pick Werner, you could pick Ziyech, Havertz, you could pick all these new signings that you can fit in your team, and you can brag to your friends about how you've fit them all financially into your team. And they're going to score less than people like James Ward-Prowse or Jeff Hendrick and other players if they're not playing games. So let's take that into account.
Yeah, and one last point is that how good your team looks on paper, and how it look on Ultimate Team on FIFA is not necessarily translates over how good that is on the Fantasy Premier League. So approach new signings with caution. The tried and tested players, you normally can't go too wrong with them. If you're looking to bring De Bruyne and Fernandes and those into your team in the coming weeks, might be wise to have someone like a Mane or an Aubameyang in midfield, which means they're at that same price bracket. So if you then don't want those, you can switch them straight up then, because you've already got that value. So those are the main sort of tips for week 1. We'll see how things play out. For those who haven't joined the league and want to join the league, we have posted the details on our Twitter. For those who are lazy and won't go on our Twitter, the league code is 8H8HOM. That's Oscar Mike. Just join the league, get involved, and ultimately finish behind me and Reese. That's what's going to happen.